Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to be joined by our friend uh, Tony McLean of MLB Brothers. Tony's been a long-time baseball writer for several outlets, and currently he's one of the columnists at MLB Brothers, which was founded by our good friend Rod Parker. And it's good to have some brothers out there giving that perspective on Major League Baseball, especially nowadays where the game is just not what it used to be in terms of color, of people of color playing. And Anthony is also one of the founders of the BSA in Newsroom, and we'll ask him some more about that. And he's going to join us in about 10 or 15 minutes, guys. But Tree and Tim, of course, it's great to see you both. How's everybody doing?
I'm good-ish. I have and sleepy. Good-ish. I got a sore leg. I got a race coming up this weekend, but I'm gonna either walk it or run walk it. But I'm gonna prevail.
Push through it.
Push through it.
Yeah. We're all good here. Everything's good except for my Braves, who started the season 0-5, and then their prime acquisition in the offseason gets popped yesterday for 80 games for an illegal substance. So it's like it couldn't be any better for here in Atlanta.
I'm sorry, who got what now?
Jerson Profar, they said he had an illegal substance when he got drug tested. And so he's going to miss the next 80 games. They just signed him to a 3-year contract. So, his guys in the clubhouse can be looking at him kind of sideways, and I don't know. The Braves signed this guy McDougal right at the end of spring training, and he's down in the minor leagues, and he's been a major leaguer for forever. But the deal is, it seems like that was a curious signing, and it seems like maybe somebody got a heads up that you're about to lose your starting left fielder. So it's not good here, and they play the Dodgers again tonight and tomorrow. So it could very well be 0-7 to start the season, and coming home Friday night for the home opener. So
the Dodgers are good, man. They are good.
Yeah, the Padres look great over the weekend too.
They are really good. They handled my Tigers. I'm so glad to see them get out of town. But let's save our baseball talk because we got let's save Tim, Tree.
Tim, come back to us. Come back.
I'm sure we'll get Tim back shortly. But yeah, we're going to be joined by Tony McLean and get into some of that. Tree, did you do a bracket?
I talked about doing one, but then I didn't. But I'm just happy that Duke is in the Final Four. So I would have had them there. I would have them winning. So I felt like I didn't really need it, but I just didn't get to it.
You just really went out on a limb to go with Duke, huh?
Well, I've been a long time fan.
But and we got all 4 number 1 seeds are in the Final Four, and that's the first time that has happened for a while. So that's going to be interesting on that end. I've been watching the women's side of the bracket, and I think we talked about this last week. Last year, the women stole the show.
They did.
With Caitlin Clark and I forgot the young lady from LSU, who was a terrific player. They're both big celebrities now in the WNBA. But the games haven't quite been what they were last year. Of course, that's a lot to live up to because they were they were just tremendous last season.
Yeah, the South Carolina women's game was really close. I was watching that one, and I wasn't sure they were going to pull it out, but they did. But it was really, really close. So,
We got to do, and for our next show, it'll be at Final Four weekend. We got to do a fit check on Dawn Staley. I mean,
oh,
her sideline gear is she's Gucci down. Uh, I don't know much else. I know the Gucci brand when I see it, but she has the most unique wardrobe in college basketball in terms of the women are concerned.
you think Dawn has the most unique? Because I've seen there's some others that are pretty fashionable. I can't think of the lady's name,
Oh,
but
Kim Mulkey from LSU.
it's
They
another
had
African
the
American woman. And
purple.
either they're being criticized for outfits or they're,
This is Texas A&M women's coach has been criticized for what she
yeah,
wears.
yeah.
And
And
saying that,
so,
it's not
See,
appropriate.
that's some sexist stuff.
But then, you can wear feathers and glitter and stuff at LSU, you know.
we cool
But,
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is she wearing? What is the Texas A&M coach wearing?
It's more, it is really looking more suited for the students than it is to be a coach. But nonetheless, she can pull it off.
Well, you know what? I'm going to try to look some of this stuff up.
And who's to say it's just for students? I mean, you can wear whatever you want.
Exactly, Trick. Exactly.
Unless there's something in her contract that says you cannot wear whatever. But I mean, who does
No.
that? Who does that?
Nobody's going to say that. You can't tell anybody that. See, you start
No.
telling me what to wear. You start telling me how, start paying for my wardrobe. Put it that way.
Yeah,
Well, welcome back, Tim.
Thanks.
Tim, Trina and I were talking about the Final Four. How does your bracket turn out, man?
It came out perfect. I had all 4 number ones in the Final Four.
Did
You
you?
said that with a straight face.
I absolutely did. I'm practicing. I didn't start a bracket at all. I wouldn't have picked Duke because I hate Duke. So it would not have been one of my Final Four picks. I'd had him going out to losing to a 16. So I do it that way. But I would have loved to see. We have a friend over in the Carolinas, and his name escapes me now. And if I see his face, I can tell you. But he hated the first week of the tournament. He thought it was unfair that the SEC had 14 teams in the league in the tournament, and you saw that 4 of the Elite 8 were SEC schools. I was wanting it to be an SEC sweep, but as it is now, there'll only be one team in the championship game because you have Auburn playing Florida, and then Duke is against Houston. So somebody's going to be up there. So the SEC deserved their 14.
Absolutely. I mean, they've gotten better at basketball than they have in football, man.
It used to be so much about ACC, but now, it's like, what?
Yeah.
SEC? How'd that happen?
But I look at it as Duke will be playing Auburn in the championship. That's the way I'm looking at it. Cooper Flagg is probably the best player. Well, not probably. He's one of the best players in the country. The kid is just outstanding in everything that he does. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. And Auburn is just fun to watch. They are really good. They get that transition game. They're fast. They're quick. They can shoot the three. I just think that they are, to me, they're the best team in basketball. But I think, you can overcome that with one dude. And I think Flagg will be that one dude.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how Broome is going to be with that.
Right.
Yeah, he came out there with
he was playing with one hand, but the second half, and then he throws up that 3 with one hand. I was like, okay.
Like Willis Reed, man.
That's pretty amazing.
I was having a conversation with our friend John Harris, the author of Give John a Quick Plug, the author of Tomlin, longtime sports writer, good friend. And we were talking about Cooper Flagg, and John is very high on Cooper Flagg. And, John does the Tendex rating system. And I said, could you rate Cooper Flagg with Larry Bird from his Indiana State days, and he said, no, it didn't go back that way, but he actually took the time and tried to dig into it. And Cooper Flagg is the highest freshman that Tendex has ever had rated. But the asterisk is he just went and did this little aside of Larry Bird, and Larry Bird was just freaking off the charts with his rating. But could Flagg be another Larry Bird?
Oh, come on. See, let's not do that. Let's
I was going to say Flagg's going to be Flagg.
Yeah, it's like my thing is, we compare people and say, why can't he be another Karl Malone or Alex English?
Black, he's white.
But that's my thing is, we compare white to white, black to black, and it's like it was something that happened, and Bird was compared to somebody white, and he said, well, I thought my game was more like, he picked a black player in the NBA. So he was like, don't compare me to white guy. He's always cracking on white guys. He had Tom Chambers was on him. There's these clips I see on the internet where he trash talks a lot. And he told Tom Chambers he's going to hit a 3 in his face to win the game. And what did he do? He did that. He talked to on the Pistons. They had somebody on him that was white.
Dennis Rob? No. Kelly Tripucka.
He said, y'all insult me when you put a white kid on me. And I think Bird had a triple-double at the half on Tripucka. So,
I think you've heard our friend Derek Gervin tell that story. He and the kid from Auburn that could jump out of the gym.
Chuck Person?
Not Person, but he played with Chuck. Just a tremendous athlete. Anyway, it'll come to me. And he was with the Nets, and Bird hit a jumper. Both of them were flying over. And he told Derek and the other guy, that's over the both of yous. The both of yous.
He was a trash talker from way back. I was very surprised. I just thought he just played. I didn't know he was as uber cocky as he is. And that's a side I had not seen. And it's great. It's not, when you can do it and back it up, it's one thing.
It ain't bragging if you can back it up. I gotta find this guy's name before we get out of here too. And on the women's side, South Carolina, there for their 5th straight. That's hard to do, man.
It is.
And watching them, because I don't think they even played well, and I guess a lot of it has to do they're playing good teams too, that they just can't shake them. But they just seem to find a way to get it done in the crunch.
Oh yeah, they do, and it's. I think it's coaching. I think that Staley gets on those young ladies at the half when they're not playing well, because I think the last game they played, the coach, I think it was Iowa. I'm not sure if it was Iowa. Said she seemed it kicked it up a notch in the second half, but she figured that was a halftime talking to from Dawn Staley. So it'll be interesting to see
Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's some of her Gucci wear there.
Well, she does that, but when it's football season, she's got the Eagles. She's a Philly girl, so she'll have Eagles jerseys on, or Sixers or Phillies jerseys on when they're playing ball. So
nice.
Yeah,
I like them all.
There we go with the Philly stuff, the green jackets.
She keeps the gear.
Wasn't that other one Louis Vuitton, the white?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any advertising for Gucci unless they want to pay us. So I'm gonna
I'll wear it. We'll send it. I'll wear it. We'll talk about it.
Tria model it right here. She said, "This is what she wore."
Send it my way. I'll take care of it.
But I love the way she just handles herself. I love the way the team plays for her. I'm always cheering her on down there. And did you see? I know we've had trouble communicating in recent weeks, but the coach from Indiana was complaining about the crowd.
That was fake.
Oh, okay.
That's fake news. Saying, we have to do something about these things.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
As I texted you guys, you should be fired right then and there.
Yeah.
I
They
remember
hurt
saying
my
something
kids' feelings
about
by
it.
cheering for the other team.
I remember saying something about it. Remind me, what was
Yeah.
she complaining about?
The crowd, that it's a partisan crowd. South Carolina's close to Birmingham, so they had more people there. They were intimidated. She said they were intimidated.
Oh.
And you just don't like to see that word thrown around when it's other people.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder when the women's game is going to grow, where they could move these the tournament to sectionals like they do for the men.
It's going to get there, and it's probably not too long from now, because there are just so many outstanding athletes. Becker for UConn is just unreal in how she plays. She's an exciting, really exciting ball player. So we're going to see South Carolina take on Texas, and then UConn against UCLA, and UCLA has the center Betts, she's trouble, big trouble.
And this is courtesy of ABC. Big trouble. I am waiting for them to tell me how tall she is. 6'6",
6'7". I thought 6'7".
Yeah.
But everybody there is pretty. When they're 6'6", 6'3", she looks like a giant out there.
Yeah. And she moves well. Speaking of giants, we have one of the giants of the industry that has popped on. Where you go, Tony?
Come back to us.
Maybe we'll
I was seeing the look on his face made me think that he was not with us, only in physically, but not in spirit.
Yeah. We'll get him on in a second.
Yeah, we got the Final Four for the women starts Friday, right?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The women's Final Four starts Friday, correct?
Yes.
They got South Carolina and Texas at 7, and then UConn and UCLA at 9 on Friday night. So
yeah,
that's what you do.
And I think we got Tony with us now. Tony.
Hey folks, how y'all doing tonight?
Hey, is my good friend, great friend of the show, columnist at MLB Brothers, longtime columnist for BSAN Newsroom, Tony McLean. Tony, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, bro, the first thing I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff, but I want to know your thoughts on these doggone bats. We were going there. The torpedo bats.
The Phantom bat, huh?
What's your take, man?
I wonder if this was not a blue blood like the Yankees, if it was like, say, Seattle, or God forbid Houston, or somebody else like this doing this. Would we have this same thing? Now, apparently other players are using. I saw Max Muncy is using that bat as well, and a couple of other folks. Look, we've seen this with the Yankees, where they have a week or a game where they just go where they basically recreate the Bugs Bunny cartoon with the Gas House Gorillas and just go all ham. But we're what are we, 4 games in? Let's we've seen this this way. We've seen this movie before. So now I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio is going to drown in the end, but it's the sort of thing where, it's early. It's early. The Yankees are still having a lot of Juan Soto remorse as well. So let's play it. Let's see it all play out. Let's see what kind of pitching they get, because I found it interesting that everybody was ready to throw away Marcus Stroman and spring training, and now they basically need him just to have some extra arms. But yeah, it is what it is. Now apparently also tonight they're coming out with this new glove that they're using as well. And now, as of right now, Rod Manfred said it's okay, but we'll see, because he tends to go with like the public reaction, and then sort of changes his mind midstream. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out.
Did that glove have helped Aaron Judge last year in the World Series?
Well, probably not. It's the sort of thing with. It reminds me of an old joke. What does Michael Jackson and the Tampa Bay Rays have in common? They all wear a glove on one hand for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead.
We were talking about it earlier about the torpedo bat, and how anybody else that hits 15 home runs in 3 games, they're gonna shut that down. Especially if they've been against the Yankees, they just shut that down.
Yeah.
Joe Torre would have come out of MLB and shut that down.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't run on the field if it happened. But also, let's be honest. Milwaukee's starting pitching staff. And again, it's only a few games in, but it's not. Look, put it this way: when Nestor Cortez is basically your ace, something's up this early in the season.
Oh, please,
so
Tony.
what's different about the glove that you said they have a new glove? So what's different about the glove? You said it's a new glove. What's different?
Well, I guess it's got like a form of Velcro or something to that effect. It's supposed to. The whole deal is that it's supposed to be able to make it easier to catch the balls. But I mean, isn't that what a glove? I mean, I sort of thought that's what a glove was supposed to do. But it's, again. Baseball can be its own worst enemy at times, because all the old, well, you can't do this and you can't do that and you're not supposed to do this, and they have to be led kicking and scratching into the 21st century in a lot of instances now. And with the bat, let it play out. I think the fact that the Yankees just went crazy in one game, it got a lot of publicity, but let's see. We need a bigger sample size. It's 4 games in is too soon.
Hey, how much has this 2025 technology is everywhere? My sport, golf technology, the clubs are better than ever, but somebody's gonna shoot 15 under and win the Masters next week, just like somebody shot 15 under and won the Masters 25 years ago. My point is, you still got to hit the shot. You still got to hit the ball. You still got to catch the ball. Has technology advanced the game at all in terms of performance, Tony?
I would say so. I mean, but see, the other thing also is that the injury factor as well. I mean, with baseball, we grew up in an era where guys actually pitch 9 innings. Now a quality start is 6 innings, and they're ready to give them a cookie. It's the sort of thing where there's certain things that technology has helped, and then there's certain things where it's like it's just sort of just new and improved of something that we've already seen. You talked about the Masters. Remember, after Tiger basically won the tournament on a Friday, for lack of a better word, they Tiger-proofed the Masters, and it really hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
When you talk about technology and how it's helped, the spring training experiment with the umpires and challenging those calls. Isn't the human element supposed to be part of the game? Isn't that supposed to be part of the deal? I think of your boy Albuquerque, Ricky, had a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th.
Oh yeah.
It was a Decken. It wasn't Jenkins. Hendricks.
Edwin
He made a bad call.
Yeah.
And Albuquerque I don't think he ever pitched in the majors again after that.
Yeah.
But he blew the kids no-hitter on a bad call. Now you can challenge that. You know,
It's and see, and they're setting us up for these robo umps. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Um, look, we all look with the umps. We get it, and I agree with you. The whole human element thing, but technology. Now, see, this is where I think where you're getting an iRobot sort of deal, and it's almost too much because I don't mind the reviews for the plays or everything like that. But if we're going to do balls and strikes, then you know what they need to do is they can't start ejecting they can't eject managers for arguing balls and strikes anymore. But see, they're not going to do that because again, it makes too much sense. But it's one of those things where I don't have a problem with replay on all the sports. What's bothersome to me, I think, for most of us, is the 8 hours it takes to in between plays to get it right. I mean, especially with the NFL, when you've already got like 16, 17 cameras and you still call it wrong, that's bothersome because it's like we're never gonna get those 4 minutes back, and it already adds to the game's already 3.5 hours most of the time as it is. At least now with baseball because of the pitch clock, it's made it so that you don't have to rent out a room just to watch a game. So it's you want to hope that it balances out, and it seems as though more so with the replay stuff, it doesn't add up because it just takes even longer. And what makes it worse again, they still blow the call. I mean, nobody in the NFL knows what a catch is anymore.
right.
I do better texting Jose Feliciano to find out if the ball was catchable or not at this point in time right now.
Gosh. Well, Tony, here's a question. Now baseball seems to be becoming less and less of a sport for African Americans. I'm wondering, are there more brothers in the press box now than there are on rosters? Because I routinely this time of year go around and try to pick. I mean, I'm talking about American-born African American football players.
Yeah,
and I go down there and check the rosters and see it's like, Marcus Stroman, the pitcher, one. Is that? I think that's. There may be a couple more, but you just don't see them. See a lot of. No.
They're still. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because one of our writers just did like his all-time black baseball team, and one of the hardest things we had to do was try to find a black shortstop. Now after sort of like the predictable guys, Jeter, Barry Larkin, Ozzie, Gary Templeton, there's not really anybody else. And with catchers, it's almost like after Charles Johnson retired, they basically, you don't see any brothers catching anymore. I'll say this.
I'll make an exception. The Braves this year have a biracial catcher. I put it that way. I know. I thought he was black, and then I showed a picture of his mom at the ball game, and she was blonde. And I was, so we have at least one, and he's been probably the first one since Charles Johnson, because it's like kids.
And for the Braves, you probably got to go back to Earl Williams, to one of the last black catcher that they had. I know. I'm showing my age. I apologize, but it's. I'll put it this way: about 4 or 5 years ago, the two rookies of the year were black. 2 years later, when they had the amateur draft, of the top 10 players that were picked, 5 were black. So it's one of those things where it's gonna take. I don't know if it's gonna take another generation, but just how the numbers slowly started to go down, you'll start to see the numbers slowly get up. But it's gonna take some time because there's no feeder system anymore. Most of the kids that come out of the HBCUs that are all-stars, they're Hispanic. And there are black stars that come out of there, but most of the when you look at the SWAC, all SWAC teams and all MEAC teams, it's usually Hispanic players. You don't have as many kids doing the doing the club thing like with basketball and
Travel ball.
and football. Yeah, and see, baseball. That's a part of that is baseball's fault as well because they've never really tried to sell the sport enough for me, as far as I'm concerned. One of the things the NFL always had in their back pocket was NFL films. As a kid, I always watched NFL films. The day, weeks before the games. NBA, when David Stern took over, he made it a point to push the game, and you're still seeing residual effects of that. Even hockey, to a certain extent, there are more. Now, granted, some of them are mostly Canadian, but you're seeing more blacks on a percentage level playing in the NHL than Major League Baseball. Now, if someone had told me that
Wow.
2030, it's not so much a numbers thing, but percentage, because I think all in all, there's about 35 players of color in the National Hockey League, and they're prominent players too. There's been a black player on, I believe, the last 7 Stanley Cup winners. At least one player in the last 6-7 years. But percentage wise, the NHL has a higher rate of black players than Major League Baseball, and there's just something fundamentally wrong about that.
Well, Tony, what about the Major League Baseball's RBI program I think they put that in place in the 90s, I believe.
Yeah, there's put this way, there are a lot of kids that are playing. We have in my hometown here in New Haven, we have one of the oldest black little leagues in the East Coast. They've been going on for like almost 50, 60 years. But the thing is, unfortunately, they're playing at that young age, but a lot of times when they get to middle school or when they get to high school, they're taking up another sport. Maybe a fraction of them maybe will play ball, and then unfortunately not too many of them make it to the pros. And also, the other thing now is when Griffey and Barry Bonds retired or were whatever, they were the last of the former Major League sons that were in the game. Now you don't have that. I mean, you had Dusty Baker's son was called up, I think, about 2-3 years ago, and I think he's still in the minors. But just to throw out names, I mean, if Curtis Granderson has a son, that's another 10 years possibly. If CC Sabathia's kid wants to play ball, that may be still another 10. It's one of those things where the feeder system is not there as it used to be. The kids, while they play at a young age, they wind up playing another sport when they get into those formative years. I mean, let's face it, they can either go to basketball or football. All you got to do is see the transfer portals for football and basketball, and it's full of black kids. And even Division I baseball, the percentage is even lower in Division I baseball than it is in the major leagues. So it's one of those things, sadly, where we may have to go back to Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby numbers before it gets better. I hate to say that, but I just I don't see it happening like right now. It's not. Let's put it this way. I'm not going to try to presumptuous get everybody's age here, but hopefully we're going to live long enough to see where it gets back to, say, at least 15, 20%. That's the thing. It's. I wish there was a magic pill where we could say this is how this thing can be solved, but it's going to have to be done on a grassroots level as well. But it's it's a bitter pill to swallow if you're a longtime black baseball fan, where you don't see enough players that look like us that are playing the game, let alone managing and being GMs and everything else.
Tony, talk to us about MLB Brothers and how you guys, with everything taken into account of what you just said, how you guys approach covering Major League Baseball and baseball in general from a black perspective.
Well, the great thing is, and I'm really just proud that I'm just a part of it. It was a brainchild of an ex-college roommate of mine, a college colleague, Rob Parker. I know some of you may be familiar with. He was within the Detroit News, Cincinnati, New York, what have you. He and J.R. Gamble, who was part of the Atlantic, they basically brainstormed and just put the site together. We're going into our fifth year now. I'm going into my third year with the site. And end of the day, what we do is we do what like the site that I write for, BA, BS and Newsroom. We basically look at the past, present, and futures of black and brown ball players in Major League Baseball. And the thing is, even though the numbers are down, the players that are there are making impact. You know, you look at Mike Harris in Atlanta. You look at Hunter Green in Cincinnati. We mentioned, Marcus Stroman. You have Seaman in Texas. And while we could sort of, watch them individually on certain nights, they're all the one common denominator with them and the players who, broke the barriers before them is that they're all prominent players. They're all, all-stars, award winners, been on major pennant teams. I mean, you look at somebody like Mookie Betts. As far as Mookie Betts is basically this generation's Babe Ruth, in the sense of the Red Sox are never going to win. They still have to. To me, they're still going to have to justify getting rid of him after all those years. I never could understand it. That, unfortunately, attitudes like that are still going to be there. There's no way around that. But the great thing is that they're given a platform that they really have never been given. And that's the great thing about modern media right now, between the net, and what we all are able to do. We're able to give them in a sense, we're able to give them their flowers before it's too late. Now, I've always make it a point to always, write about, guys from the past. I did a write-up last year on why I thought Dave Parker should have been in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to lie, I cried like a baby when I found out that he got in, because I felt like, you know what? I helped him get in to a certain extent. And while talking about the past is good, you still want to emphasize the kids that are out there, because there's a lot of difference makers out there. And you still probably have to try and either get like that MLB package to catch some of them, or if you have or depending on who your favorite player is. But unfortunately, there's a lot of instances where there's a lot of teams where the well has run dry, and it's like I said, it's unfortunate, and we're probably going to have to go through that for a little more. But what I love about what we do is that you got the old dinosaurs like myself, but you also got a bunch of young kids who are out there, doing it and using the technology and everything to put that message out there. And now that we have a working relationship with Major League Baseball, that adds even more to it as well, because now the players know about us. I wrote something a while back on the Hairston family. Starting with Sam and Jerry Jr. And everything. And I got a tweet back from Jerry Jr. With a thumbs up. That made my day because it lets me know that they're watching and they're watching what we do. And it's a labor of love for me because I used to have a running joke where there was only 6 black baseball fans left in the country, and I only knew 2 of them. But now I think I'd like to think that there's more because of what we're doing, but there's still just, I think what we're doing, I think we're still just tapping the surface of what we can and we'll still be able to do.
How much editorial control does MLB have over you guys, or do they have any at all?
None. Rob's been in the business forever. It's the sort of thing where they're aware of us, and it's the sort of thing where basically they say, any help you need, just let us know, and all that other stuff. But no, they're not. Trust me, Rob Manfred is not watching over our thing, saying, "Hey, you need to write about this and everything like that." We've got guys in all the major cities. Rob is actually in Cali, so he's at a lot of Dodger games, a lot of Angel games as well. I'm here up in the East Coast. Actually, one of the things I did last year, I covered Dwight Gooden's number retirement ceremony. And we had guys at the All-Star game. We were at the World Series. We're at all the all the different events that you're starting to see Major League Baseball do now. With the HBCU Classics and some of the other outside things that happen on All-Star Weekend. So we're out there, and the best thing I could tell everybody is, if you need a black baseball fix on a daily or a weekly basis, www.mlbbro.com. You look at the archives, you'll have there's nobody gets forgotten.
Well, I asked the question because I just see recently Manfred and MLB scrubbed pretty much DEI from their pages, and you wonder how much of RBI and the HBCU Classic and that kind of stuff. I know they're going to have a lot of stuff involved around the All-Star game here in July. But is it window dressing if it's not real, if they are backing away from that kind of thing out of fear? I guess, nobody wants to lose that antitrust exemption. Or so.
And they get close to it every year because of something. See, let me say this as nice as I can. Baseball is stupid in a lot of what they do. I mean, there's no nice way of saying it.
I was going to say that wasn't there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice way. They're stupid.
Yeah, it's literally 100 steps forward and 607 steps backwards in so many instances. Now, again, because of the political climate that we're in, because of the nobody wants to be outed, nobody wants to be called out by the orange fella on 1600. People have backed down, and baseball as well. I mean, in retrospect, I think I understand why they did it, but in retrospect, when they took the All-Star game out of Atlanta a few years back, they wound up hurting a lot of black workers for that. The preparations and everything like that. And like I said, I understand the reason why, but again, if you know your history, if you really are attentive about knowing your history, you maybe take a step back and maybe just sort of call it out. Maybe make it so that you could, if you come to the home run derby, you can register to vote, or just do something along those lines. Like I said, I understand the reasons why, but the whole to execute this way, much like how John McKay talked about his old Tampa Bay Bucks saying he was all ready for their execution.
Right.
The execution was the execution here was lame at best.
Well, that's why I asked about it, because Major League Baseball is losing a lot of these kids, and individual clubs are doing different things. I know the Atlanta Braves refurbished a field, Gresham Park here in Atlanta, and it's a turf field. It's gorgeous. It's in a predominantly Black neighborhood, and they do. I mean, their individual teams are doing things in their community, but you don't see where there's a massive undertaking by the league in and of itself.
And
it
will.
I'm sorry,
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I probably won't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's the tragedy, because it wouldn't take a lot for them to do it. I mean, look, good, bad, or indifferent, the NFL is on it with stuff. Whenever there's a whatever, they're image conscious and they're on it. But with baseball, for whatever reason, they literally and figuratively have to be led kicking and scratching into the 21st century. And what makes it even worse for baseball is that even their hardcore fans, black, white, or whatever you, and I don't mean to be morbid when I say this, that fan base is dying off.
Yeah.
And the fans that are still there are turned off by the game, because it's a tough watch. And I think here's what sort of sums up what the young generation thinks. More kids have probably watched baseball on MLB 2K than watching a regular baseball game. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah. And the thing about baseball, man, the beauty of it, for example, playoff baseball, you get in the late innings, there is nothing more intense when he's at the mound looking in the home plate. I mean, you're sitting on pins and needles, but it's hard to recreate that throughout the course of the year with young people who just don't have that attention span. But
and Rick, the fact that ESPN felt comfortable enough to basically say, we're out, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. When they feel, I mean, they literally was like, it was sort of like baseball was breaking up with them, and they said, okay, I'm cool. I'll catch you later. I'll meet somebody else.
But you know what? And you guys might think differently here, but we get so much of it now. It's a game on every night. I'd have to get the Braves on the radio or every now and then get on a weekend. It was a special treat to catch a game. Now I can turn my TV and the same thing applies for the NBA and NFL. I think the beauty of their sport is once a week. So you can talk about that game leading up, and then the next one after
the NFL has the perfect storm, because it's a formula. Sunday's game day. Monday's Monday Night Football. Tuesday, Tuesday basically, you got the sort of postmortem in a sense. Wednesday, the injured list comes out. Then come Thursday, you have a lousy Thursday night game, but the game is on.
Right.
You got your Friday night lights. You have your Saturday's college ball.
Yeah.
And then it's Sunday again.
Yeah.
It's a perfect formula. It's a perfect formula because it's always there. And then now, when and you already know that that they want to do 20 games. They're already doing 17 games in 18 weeks. Now they want to, truth be told, they want to do 20 and get rid of the preseason, which would be asinine, because how are you going to evaluate your rookies and your free agents if you don't have at least 2-3 preseason games. But forgive my French, but the greedy bastard factor in the NFL is alive and well. And but see, at some point they're gonna kill the golden goose. But that being said, it's still in regards to TV ratings and popularity, it's the NFL and everybody else. Now the NBA had started to close the gap, for years, but they've sort of taken a step back. And if and when, whenever a certain Laker retires, they're going to have to find a new face of the league. And ironically for them, it may not be an American-born African-American as well.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned football because they're down there with the owners' meetings in West Palm Beach, and they're having some rule changes where touchbacks used to go to the 30, now they're going to go to the 35. But the thing that's interesting is they dipped their toe in the water last Christmas with 2 football games. This year they're going to have 3 games on Christmas, which is going to totally butt heads with the NBA because NBA used to own Christmas. You get 6 basketball games on Christmas. Now you're going to get half of those games nobody's going to watch because they're going to be 3 football games on. I mean, they're just taking over everywhere now. So, but you think about it too, the families that are going to have to make some decisions. Am I going to go to grandma's house or I'm going to watch them play the Steelers? But those type of things are, and then you have those workers who are making minimum wage or having to, miss their family events to go to these work these football games. So the NFL is not thinking about their bottom line as opposed to how it really impacts fans.
That's a great point, Tim.
More is not necessarily better. And I think it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but at some point the NFL is going to kill its golden goose. And as much as I hate to say this, because of the injury factor or what have you, and we saw what almost happened to Lamar Hamlin a couple of years back. We may have another incident like that before the NFL says, "Hey, we need to do." And whenever I hear them talk about player safety, stop it. That's them peeing on my leg and telling me it's raining again. So it's bothersome but see, when you're the top dog, you can get away with it, and until somebody stops them, so to speak, they're gonna just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
Tell me,
Let me ask.
Trey.
So you were talking about earlier about when we were talking about baseball, and I was thinking, how do they market, or how do they market themselves? Because you think about basketball, you got your tunnel walks, so the players are out there, they're talking about fashion. I think that attracts younger audiences. But what's the marketing for Major League Baseball?
I think they need to do similar things, like you said, with like what the NBA does. I mean, think about it. With the NFL sells themselves, and you really don't physically see them. They're in that helmet and everything like that, but they're still able to push the sport. Baseball, you're able to physically see these guys. Basketball, the same way. Certain hockey to a certain extent as well. But I think baseball, what baseball really needs to do, and they've got to sort of get over themselves, because in a lot of instances, they still think they're the national pastime. And the logic that they use is, well, more people watch Major League Baseball than the NFL. Well, if I'm playing 162 games as compared to 17, I don't know. I know how to add. Of course, you're going to have more, but see, that's how they still. That's how they're still able to do it. The one thing baseball has going for itself is it's still the cheapest ticket out of all the 4 major sports. When the Knicks redid Madison Square Garden a few years ago, the nosebleed seats used to be, I think, like $25, $35. That doesn't even pay for your parking now. for most NFL games, let alone NBA games. And the crazy thing is, the Knicks and the Lakers have the two highest ticket prices in the league, and arguably they may not even be they're arguably not the best two teams, but they're able to get away with it though.
Hey, man, this has been just a tremendous conversation, Tony, and I knew it would be getting all your insights on baseball, but you are a veteran in this business, and we only have a couple more minutes left. I want to ask you, step away from baseball as we finish this up,
Sure.
and ask you about the state of college athletics, coaches leaving left and right, players leaving left and right. I was telling Tim and Tree before we went on air, the kid from Michigan State was crying uncontrollably after the game the other day. Oh, man, we lost. He was in the transfer portal the next day. I'm like, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, coaches can go. Where are we going to, where's this all headed to?
The biggest, I don't have, me personally, I don't have a problem with NIL. I don't have a problem with the transfer portal either, because when Texas A&M can basically can pay Jimbo $75 million just to stay away, something's wrong with the system as it is. I find it very interesting that because the players are able to sort of move, that folks are having a problem with it, because coaches have been moving for years. And even with the NIL stuff, it's not like they're making Shohei Ohtani money. It's not like they're making Juan Soto money. They're, for the most part, they get a little bit so they can, so they're able to, get some decent dinner. Yeah, you may see them, do commercials or what have you, but look, we've all seen lousy commercials with professional athletes. Now we get to see lousy commercials with college athletes or with college coaches. The biggest problem I have with college sports is more so the realignment. The fact that USC and UCLA played for the women's Big Ten championship.
Come on.
Who put together these realignments? Columbus? It's the fact that Stanford is playing in the ACC. Right. The fact that down here in Connecticut, UConn is contemplating either going to the ACC or the Big 12. College, what always made college sports is regional. USC, UCLA makes sense. Ohio State, Michigan makes sense. Norfolk State, Virginia State makes sense. Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta makes sense. That's the one thing college sports has always had over the pros, those intense regional rivalries. Now it's a money grab. It's a money grab now. And look, I'm not going to tell nobody how they should make their money, but I mean, come on, y'all.
Yeah. But it's during football season. I was talking to Rick. I said I was driving up 85 here in Atlanta, and Cal had his football schedule on a billboard in downtown Atlanta.
Come on, man.
Hey, not too far up the road from me, Rutgers had a schedule signed. Rutgers in Jersey, in Connecticut.
Come on, man.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Tony, tell us a little bit more about MLB Brothers, how people can read your great work, and of course, legendary BSAN newsroom.
MLB, it's www.mlbbro.com. Again, it's all about covering Black and brown baseball players, past, present, future. I was lucky enough to interview. I'm running all together here. Kenny Lofton a few weeks back. So I'm hoping to do something on that. BASN Newsroom. Now our moniker's changed a little bit. It's www.basnnewsroom.worldpress.com, and same principle there, but we cover all all black sports. I guess one of my writers just did something on his on his favorite all black baseball team. And you guys, and I caught the early part. You guys were talking about the UConn women. Apparently, if they don't win, there's going to be the state's going to be under martial law if they don't win the thing. Whatever. But that's more so just how crazy they are down here. But both folks didn't see this run coming, and I think that's why it was really enjoyable. And we'll see how they do. And the crazy thing is, they got we already seen what Beckers is going to be able to do when she leaves, but you already got this freshman there. And they're already getting one of either the number 2 or the number 3 freshmen coming in. So if y'all are sick of UConn, I'm sorry, they're gonna just sort of like locusts and the president. They're gonna be around for a while.
Ooh, okay.
Brother, you always bring it, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we will definitely be checking back with you periodically during the season to see how things are going. But for our great friend Tony McLean, Tim Turner, Tree McDougal, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody.
All right. Be kind, everybody.
Take care.